Okay, today in Psalms of David, we're going to look at Psalm 102. We're going to find this is a very, very fitting psalm for us right now in this time and season that we're going through, just in the world. And I know that many of us are going through things in our personal life, and we'll be able to apply a lot of this psalm to those times. So, the first thing I want to bring out is right up here, each one of these psalms, they kind of have a header. And this one, the header on it is prayer of a sufferer overcome by weakness, pouring out his complaint before Adonai. Now, who of us doesn't do that? I guess all of us could say that, we're suffering some things right now. All of us are suffering something. And a lot of times we come before God and we pour out our complaints, and that can look very different for, many different people. Sometimes we do that through tears. Sometimes we do it through no words at all. Sometimes we do it through literal complaining and griping and moaning and just carrying on. And so this psalm can be applied to those times. I mean, again, all of us are going through something. So let's see what the Bible has to say when we are suffering and we're pouring out our complaints before God. Um, the first thing it says is, Adonai, hear my prayer. First of all, if we're praying, we want God to hear us. We have to trust that He's listening and that He's going to hear us. And then He says, let my cry for help reach you. He's saying, please listen to what I'm saying. Please hear me. Let my cry come up. And that's important. It's a cry, it's a heart cry. Let my cry come up. Don't hide your face from me because I'm in such distress. Turn your ear and please be quick to reply. Don't we all say that? Please answer me quickly. I mean, if we're praying to God for something, we want the answer yesterday. We don't want to wait. And so, here we see David, he addresses God with a personal name, Adonai. Which means my Lord. He's saying, this is personal. This is between me and you, God. And, how many of us today are bringing our cries and our pleas and our complaints and our sufferings? Hopefully, we are bringing them before a very personal God, my Lord, my God. And that we're able to say to Him, I'm calling to you. Please hear me. Don't look away. Please hear me. And then I love how he begins to describe how he really feels. David says it like it really is. We can take a lesson from this. Let's look at it. Uh, for my days are vanishing like smoke. My bones are burning like a furnace. I'm stricken. I'm withered like grass. I forget to eat my food. Sometimes when we're going through really hard times, we just forget to eat. Literally, we forget to eat. Because of my loud groaning, I'm just skin and bones because I'm so consumed with the problem that's going on. I'm forgetting to eat, and I wish I could lose weight like that. I'm not skin and bones, but there are times that we just forget to take care of ourselves. And so, here's a man after God's heart. He's chasing God's heart, and he's admitting, he's pouring out his heart. I think David shows us that, it's okay to be very honest with God. God, he already knows, and He would rather have our hearts so close to His that we know that we can tell Him these things. So he goes on and he says, I'm like a great owl in the desert. I become like an owl in the ruins. He's saying, I'm out here in this field. I'm completely abandoned. And how many of us right now in this world, we feel completely abandoned? Like, not just that nobody's there, but that nobody cares to be. I know there are times that I feel like, there's no point in even saying that bothers you, Tammy, because nobody really cares. And so a lot of times I don't even say, what is bothering me, because I know people don't really care. And sometimes it isn't because they're heartless. It's because they're consumed with their own problems. So they can't really, they don't have enough strength left. to extend sometimes. That's what the problem is. David says, I lie awake and I'm like a bird alone on the roof. He goes on, he's just pouring out his heart. He's saying, God, I'm really all alone here, and I don't know how much more of this I can take. And I'm just telling you how I feel here. He says, my enemies taunt me all day long. They're mad with rage. They make my name a curse. I'm eating ashes like bread. I mean, how poetic is his, my tears mingle my drink. You must be angry at me, God. You just picked me up and left me off here and dropped me off in the middle of my mess. Sometimes we feel like that. I feel like that sometimes. I feel like, well, God must not really care about me, because if he did, he would get up and do something. And, sometimes we feel like that with God. I'm not ashamed to admit that sometimes I feel that way with God. Why don't you just do something? But then, he goes on, and I love how he quickly changes his psalm of lament. And David does this very often. He will, I call this nevertheless. He'll say, this is how I really feel. But nevertheless, and we have another who did that, who of course is our model, and that is Jesus Christ, who, in the garden where he says, I don't really want to do this, but nevertheless, not my will, but your will. And so David does that very often in the Psalms. He'll say, this is how I really feel, and this is the worst possible thing that could ever happen. And then he goes on and he says, I know who you are. You are God. You are Adonai. You are enthroned forever. You are the King of the universe. And I know that's who you are. I know that nations fear you, God. I know that, you are almighty, all-knowing. I know that there's nothing like you, God. And then he goes down here, and this is what I wanted to bring out. Down here in verse 18 and 19, and this is so important. If you don't hear anything else I'm saying, hear this. If you're struggling with anything right now, here's something just for you, just for me. He says, may this be put on record for a future generation. May a people yet to be created praise Adonai. He's literally saying, I'm not writing what I'm about to say for me. I'm saying, I'm going to write this. God says, I'm inspiring you to write this down for our future generation. He's literally writing this to you and to me. What a beautiful thing that God did there, is that we can know all the way through the Bible, God leaves us these messages. But this one, it's got the salutation. Hey, this is for you, Tammy. This is for you out there. This is God saying, I literally wrote this for our future generation. I wrote this for you. And so what does he say? He says, I want you to know that God has looked down from the heights of his sanctuary from heaven, and he saw everything. He surveyed the whole earth. He has heard the sighing that you're making in the midnight hour. He hears your crying. He hears when you feel like you've been sentenced to death. He's hearing you when you've been broken and you feel like your days have been cut short and like there's nothing worth living for. He says he knows that you're there. He has looked down and he has seen everything you're going through. He says, this same God who laid the foundations of the earth is the same God that's listening to you now. The same God who made everything and put the stars in place and the moon and hung it there. He says, he's caring about what you're going through. If you're suffering right now, he says that same God, he cares about what you're going through. And who doesn't need that in today's time, in this messed up world that we're living in? We all need to know that God cares, and we need to know that he is there for us. We need to be able to lean on him, and leaning on God when we're going through something is not easy. I am not here to try to make that look easy, because let me tell you, when I am going through something, very often I just want to throw up my hands and say, I quit. I'm tired and I don't want to do this anymore. And it certainly it's not going to get me out of it. I'm still going to be going through it. And my bad attitude is usually going to make whatever I'm going through a whole lot worse. And so that the purpose of these Psalms being here for us today is to give us strength. Not only in just the words that are here, but in knowing that, here is a man who chased God's heart. But he's saying things like, hey, I feel like I'm being consumed here with these hard things. I can't take it anymore. I've got so many enemies. I'm abandoned. I'm alone. I'm afraid. I'm crying my eyes out. I'm questioning you every day. You must be mad, God. Why don't you do something? But this is a man who's chasing God's heart. And let me show you the secret. And this is for all of us. This is for me today. We can come to God with all of those things that I just said, all of those things he just said here. He pinned it. I mean, you can't argue with black and white. But then he turns it around and says, but you, God, you care. You're there for me. You're listening to me. Your faithfulness endures. I know you're not going to turn your back on me. I know you're going to be there. Even though I still feel like this, I know that you're here for me. I know you care about me. And with that being said, knowing that we have that kind of God, surely we could gain strength from Psalm 102, not just in knowing that David had these feelings, but that we can have these feelings, but we still have to turn it over to God. And I want to close with this. I think it's important to bring out the fact that Jesus felt the same way. I know it was Jesus who said, my God, why have you forsaken me? Jesus had questions. We're talking about God with skin on. He was holy and upright and righteous and all-knowing and all-powerful, but he had questions. That doesn't make a lot of sense. He's all-knowing, but he has questions. It was Jesus, too, who said, nevertheless, not my will, but your will be done. And we can learn a lot from that. We can learn from Psalm 102 that when we're going through these things, and it's so hard, I'm going through something right now in my life where daily I have to say, I don't understand this. I don't like it. I wonder if you're mad at me. I'm afraid. I feel alone. I'm a little angry about it. I don't know what to do about it. It hurts like hell, God. But I know who you are. And if I know who he is, and if we can hold on to that, just like David, we can know that he's going to get us out of it and he's going to get us to the other side of it. And so let's hold on to Psalm 102 today. If you're struggling with something and you really want to tell God how you really feel, Psalm 102 says you can.